Everybody, and welcome to the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. My name is Chris Zahar, and I have a man on the line who needs no introduction. He is a world champion, a Pan Am champion, and a man who is not only famous in his own right, but for the students he's trained. Students such as Gary Tonin, students such as Gordon Ryan, the list goes on and on. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Professor Tom DeBlass. Tom, how are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Okay, so you're getting ready for the ADCC Finland, huh?
Yeah, man. Been preparing for a while. We got 2 more weeks to go. I leave not this Tuesday, next Tuesday actually, and I compete the following Saturday.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about the training that you usually go through when you're getting ready for a competition, and like how much it differs from the training that you do when you're just, when you don't have a competition?
To be honest, I actually usually shorten my rounds when I'm training for competition, because when I'm not training for competition, like I do something like I did today, like I did a Facebook Live after a seminar today, and I trained for like an hour straight, just fresh people coming in, and that's generally how I train. I just train like no bell, I just train nonstop, fresh people coming in on me. But then, if I'm preparing for a competition, I try to make the rounds similar to what the rounds are going to be like in the competition, for timing reasons. So, it's kind of like I do more marathon training in between competitions and more sprint training up to the competition.
Okay, all right. So you actually you shorten them a little bit more. Oh, that's
yeah. I try. So ADCC is 10-minute rounds, so I've been doing more 10-minute rounds. Today was kind of like a recovery day, so I did 60 minutes straight, rolling with fresh people, but it wasn't like high intensity. There weren't like it wasn't like I wasn't training with like Gordon or super high level guys like that. Mm-hmm. So I was able to train more and just work on my technique and move and sweat. And it's kind of like an active recovery day.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, do you usually train like a little bit more safely, just so you don't like get hurt before a competition?
I'd love to say I do, but I don't. I think my game is generally pretty safe. I don't do anything too crazy, but I train hard right up until the competition. I don't really like to take too many days off. It's a mental thing. If I don't train, I don't feel good. I need to be active. I need to be sweating. I need to be doing something.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And are there any guys that like you're really looking forward to facing when you do get to ADCC, or are you just like anyone, bring it?
Yeah, it's not even like I'm like anyone bring it. It's just, I respect everybody in the division. Everyone's earned their way there. They're all so tough, and I'm happy to compete against all of them. It doesn't matter, who I compete against. Of course, I just want to win as many matches as I can, and hopefully, have my hand raised at the end of the day. At the end of both days, actually, it's going to be no easy tournament, no easy task, but I'm going in there to give my best, and I don't really worry too much about or seek certain people out, what I mean, just because everybody's just so tough, and I believe in myself, and I prepared hard, and I think I have a good strategy that I'm going to use, and we'll see how it works.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. What about mental preparation? You've been competing for a long time. Do you still get nervous before a match? And if so, what do you do to kind of calm your nerves?
I think nerves are natural. I don't get too nervous to be honest, though. I will feel them, but I just try to put it out of my mind. Like I'm not even thinking about ADCC, believe it or not. Like I'm thinking about the day that I'm in, So every training day, I'm just thinking about that training session. I'm looking to improve daily, and I'm not like just thinking about ADCC, because there's so much to do before ADCC. There's so many sessions, there's so many, trainings that I have to do, to where if I just look at ADCC, like I'm neglecting the training sessions that I must focus on to get me to the competition. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't really think about it too much. I try not to focus on it too much. I just try to really focus on the training at hand.
Now, you said you don't get nervous too much. Has this like always been a characteristic of yours, or is this something that's just come with repeatedly competing over and over again?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, man. I won my first ADCC trials in 2009, and here we are in 2017. So it came with time and it came with experience for sure. When I was first competing as a white belt and blue belt, even as a purple belt, I would get those nerves. Even as a brown belt, I would get nerves. But I think after MMA and fighting MMA, like coming back to jiu-jitsu after MMA, like it's pretty hard to get really nervous just because I've had my face punched in a cage, so there's really not much that you could do to me in jiu-jitsu that's going to really, cause nerves. I get anxious, I get excited, but not too nervous. I try to enjoy the process and enjoy the competition in itself. And I try not to. If I get nervous, I try to ask myself what I'm nervous about. I try to address the situation, and I try to remind myself there's certain things that I can control and there's certain things that I can't control. So if it's something out of my control, like my opponents, I try not to be nervous, just because it's pointless and it's wasted energy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's generally what nerves are. You're worried about your opponents, right? So
yeah.
I try not really to focus on my opponents. I just try to focus on myself as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Is that the type of advice you usually give to your students if one of them, for instance, is getting nervous?
Yeah, I tell my students, remember, it's just jiu-jitsu, like it's something we're able to do every day. We're able to simulate the actual competition every day. Like, we can't simulate MMA. Like MMA training is not an MMA fight. As intense as it is, it's not an MMA fight. You're not elbowing each other in the face with no pads. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jiu-jitsu, you could keep the intensity just at the same intensity as you would a competition. So, why get nervous? It's just something we do every day. It's just a chance to do it against different people. And in my case, it's a chance to do it, against the best in the world. And that's where I've been now for many years,
Mm-hmm. Do you ever encourage your students to go out and maybe train with other instructors and train at other gyms, just so they kind of get, so they're just not rolling with the same people all the time? Because some jiu-jitsu instructors, they do get a little jealous. They're kind of like, oh, what are you training with that instructor down there for? No, you're only allowed to train at my gym. What's your feelings on that?
I think it's funny just because we have our team, if you're anywhere in the East Coast, why would you really want to train with anyone other than us? It's me, Gary Tonin, Ricardo Almeida, Hens Oh Gracie, John Danaher, Gordon Ryan. You have, some of the best guys in the world right here. So I don't really feel my students seek out other academies to train at. Maybe, they'll stop in an affiliate academy because Gary has his own school, Ricardo has his own school, Henzo has his own school, of course, I have my own school. So between our associated schools, you pretty much got all you need. We got people from all over the world traveling just to train with us. I had a guy from Australia training with me this week. He was at Henzo's the week before. This happens often. People come from all over the world. They stop at Henzo's and they stop at my gym, and it's something that I feel my students are very lucky and blessed to have so many world-class instructors, on our team, what I mean? So it's not something I really think about, or I don't really care about it, you know what I mean? But I've honestly never had a student that said, oh, I want to go to a different affiliated school to train, because I've had students stop at Gary's, I've had students stop at Henzo's and Ricardo's, and that's welcomed, So it's not something that I really ever even dealt with, just because we have a lock on, East Coast Jiu-Jitsu. We're pretty solid, pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. And just so our listeners and readers know, where is your school again?
I'm in Forked River, New Jersey, so it's kind of like the Jersey Shore, central South Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Great. Now, you mentioned, of course, Hens Oh Gracie, and that actually leads to my next question. Couple of months ago, there was a huge war between Hens Oh Gracie, Dana's Her Death Squad, and Dylan Dennis over some, rather colorful things that Dylan said about Henzo and Henzo's students and all that stuff. Of course, recently, Gary Tunnan beat Dylan Dennis at Polaris. And after the fight, they shook hands. They seemed to make up. Their tempers seemed to have cooled. So what I want to know is, even after everything Dylan said about Danaher Death Squad, about Henzo, and about you personally, have your feelings towards him cooled at all? Or are you still really like, don't come near me, Dylan. I don't want anything to do with you?
I don't really have nothing to say to him. I'm not going to toast with him, and I'm not going to sit down and have dinner with him. If he wanted to apologize to me, that would be welcomed. Otherwise, he goes his way, I go mine. We're both competing in ADCC. I have other things to focus on rather than, attacking him. So it's kind of like, whatever, man. It is what it is. It's done and over with. But am I boys with them? No, not by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be boys with them? No, I have no interest to be friends with them. Do I wish ill upon them? No, I don't care. I don't focus on it, man. So it is what it is. I feel it's water under the bridge, and if we're in an elevator together, who knows what will happen? I don't know. Maybe he'll attack me. We never know.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about trash talking in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I mean, because of like Gary Tunnan and Gordon Ryan, they really enjoy doing it. Do you think it helps the sport, or do you think it kind of demeans it?
I think it helps and hurts. So I think it helps bring attention to the event, but I think it hurts the athlete overall. Like, I'm a guy that doesn't really trash talk at all unless I really don't like you, which I generally, there's really no one that I really don't like,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm welcomed and loved everywhere worldwide, I'm giving seminars everywhere, so I feel like maybe if I talked shit, it could be to somebody that is associated with somebody that's associated with somebody. I think it's like burning bridges for me, which I wouldn't want to do. It's not something I believe in personally. If people want to do it, it's up to them. I know it sparks some excitement,
Mm-hmm.
I think Gary's toned it down, and, he talks trash, but I think he does it in a more of a respectful way now. I think Gordon still has a lot to learn,
Mm-hmm.
About his social media presence, he's just a boy yet, So for me personally, I don't really agree, or not that I don't agree. It's just not something that I would do personally. If I'm going to talk shit, it's because I really don't like you, And even then, if I really don't like you, I really don't want to talk shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather not talk. I'd rather see the person face to face, and maybe talk to them face to face. But talking online for me is just this punk shit. You know what I mean? It's not the stuff that I do. I'm a 35-year-old guy, man. And I've been in this game for a long time, and not only jiu-jitsu. I've been fighting since I've been 4 years old. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's nothing. I don't really talk. It's not what I do. I try to get along with everybody and respect everybody.
Now, you said you've been fighting since you were 4 years old. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like a schoolyard
I've
fights?
had my first fist fight at 4 years old,
Oh,
so it's something that I've been exposed to my entire life, I've been scrapping for a long time, man, so fighting for me is as normal as, most people, brushing their teeth in the morning. It's just something that is, it's the normalcy for me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a much different place in my life now, but I'm a fighter at heart. It's what I've been growing up doing. I've done it professionally. I'm still competing at the highest level in jiu-jitsu. So
Mm-hmm.
it's never, you could put a lion in a zoo, but you let him out of that cage, and he's gonna do lion shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm very reformed, and I'm very well spoken and kind, but if for sure I have that other side within me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you've competed in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. 30 years ago, mixed martial arts was this underground sport that like virtually nobody had heard of, and today it's it's taking place in like the biggest. The biggest stadiums in the world, like Madison Square Garden, for instance. Do you think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will ever get to that point?
I think it's growing more and more. I don't know if it'll be where MMA is, but I think it's growing more and more, and I think it's more and more entertaining, and more people are understanding and knowing about it. So I think it has a chance. I don't think we're anywhere near close to it being where like the UFC would be, simply because people love violence. People love to see people being hurt, and that's what MMA does. That's what mixed martial arts does. In jiu-jitsu, generally people walk away without being hurt, and it's an art that people must understand in order to really appreciate it. And if you don't understand it, it's hard to appreciate it, So I think it could be difficult if you look at things for reality, for what they really are. If people don't understand jiu-jitsu, they don't really know what they're watching. People don't need to understand MMA to understand somebody's getting punched in their face, and that's they love to see. They love to see blood. They love to see people hurting each other,
Do you think like certain types of jiu-jitsu, for instance, Nogi JiuJitsu, or the type of jiu-jitsu that you see at EBI, would have a better chance of becoming a spectator sport than, say, Gi Jiu-Jitsu, which is typically a lot slower?
I mean, it depends on who the fighter is, you know what I mean? Like some gi matches are like crazy exciting, you know what I mean? And some EBI matches, like competitors are learning more and more how to just stall the first 10 minutes and do absolutely nothing and then win in overtime, and that's getting boring now. At first it was a little bit more exciting. So it really depends on the fighter, I think, I don't think it's necessarily one style. I think it really depends on the person's, like Gary can't be in a boring match. Never. Like, he's just never in a boring match. Whether it's gi or no gi, like his gi match against AJ was exciting as hell. You know what I mean? So it really depends on the fighter,
I mean, do you also think that maybe rule sets can affect that fighter's excitement, though?
Yeah, because fighters play to the rules, as they should. So absolutely, fighters play to the rules, and I think rule sets can affect it. But at the same time, it's a catch-22, because then submission only, I mean, people are just, if it's just simply submission only, people aren't going balls to the wall from the beginning because they're worried about preserving their energy, you know what I mean? So I think every rule set has good points and bad points, and I think it's just par for the course, man. It's a catch-22. It really, where some rule sets are benefiting, at the same time others are not benefiting. That other one may be benefiting and the other one might be not. So it really depends.
Absolutely. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was, I don't remember how long ago it was, months ago maybe. You made headlines both inside and outside of the jiu-jitsu community for a confrontation that you had at a, what was it, a Walmart or something?
Yeah, Walmart.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the events leading up to that? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, so it's hard for me to be around confrontations without either breaking it up or like being in it. Like I can't just watch a fight happening. I can't do it. So I pulled in the Walmart, and this guy, he was following another guy, like talking a lot of shit, and the guy that he was talking shit to clearly didn't want any part of it. So I was like, hey man, like relax. It's not happening when I'm here. You know what I mean? Walk away, like just walk away. So he walked away, and when he walked away, I guess he walked over to like a Walmart, like where the entrance was, and as I was walking in, I see this guy, like he has his shirt off and he's like pacing, and like, I'm like, is this really happening? Like he's like coming after me, you know, like, because even if you don't know who I am, like, I'm generally not the type of guy that you look at and, like, you want a confrontation with, you know.
Definitely.
I'm 6 foot, 225 pounds, you know, like, I'm a fairly rough looking dude. And I guess he was in the mood, you know, so I started, you know, it was funny to me. For me, again, it's not, I don't get nervous or excited in the street, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna if someone wants to throw down me in the streets, for me, I'm not, I don't get pumped up. I think the shit's funny, you know, so if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. It's not smart, but if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. So I had a guy film it because I didn't know where this was gonna go. I quick gave him my phone. But, you know, if you look at the guy, he was an older guy, and, you know, probably in his, like, late 40s. He was much smaller than me, you know, probably 170, 75 pounds. Like, I already made the choice. I made the decision that even if I had to put my hands on him, like, if he attacked me throwing punches, I wasn't going to throw a punch at him. I was just going to use, you know, I was going to grab him and, you know, hold him, but not even slam him because, again, I'm experienced, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to lift somebody and slam them on their head and possibly kill them, you know? So I just would have gently taken him down. And when I say gently, I would have squeezed the life out of him. But, you know, I tried to avoid the situation. I kept distance. I, you know, didn't let him get close. And then when I grabbed his hands, I think that's when he realized, you know, like, what he was dealing with, because I have a exceptional grip, man. My grip is really, really strong. And when I grabbed his arms, like, even though I was talking very kindly to him, I was grabbing him intensely, you know. And I think kind of then he's like, oh man, like, there's something not normal about this guy, you know. So I was able to talk him down and not have any confrontation. And, you know, it ended with the hug, and I felt bad for him, man. You know, like, I didn't want to hurt that guy. You know, there's nothing. I mean, maybe if he would have spit on me, that would have really pissed me off. You know what I mean? But, like, even this guy, if he ended up hitting me in the face, like, you know, I've never been dropped before him. I could take a pretty good punch, you know. So for me, it was no big deal. You know, if he was 25 years younger, and he was, you know, a 220-pound guy, I think maybe that could have went a little differently, you know. And it also depends, you know, what kind of mood I'm in. Like, I'm not claiming to be a saint. Just because this happened, people need to understand, like, this doesn't mean it's always going to happen with me. Like, I was in a good mood. I wasn't irritable, you know what I mean? Like, I just won my fight to win against Rico Rodriguez, like, the day before, you know, and it's like, he called me on a good mood, you know. I'm not always in a good mood, you know, so it's like, it you know, it really depends. I'm just thankful in that situation I was able to, you know, handle it without, you know, aggressing him or physically imposing my will upon him, because I don't want to hurt nobody, man, you know, unless they deserve to be hurt. And I didn't think he deserved to be hurt, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, nowadays, thanks to the internet, there's all these, like, street fight videos going around, and
makes me sick, man.
It does? Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. Can you give us some of your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I can't even watch it, man. It makes me sick to my stomach, just because I feel most of it's, like, not fair. I feel like these guys are just inexperienced, and, like, when they knock somebody out or when somebody gets hurt, they follow it up with, like, you know, 10 or 15 unnecessary strikes, and it literally makes me sick to my stomach. I don't watch it, you know what I mean? Like there's a few things going to happen in a fight with me if it happens. Like, number one, I'm definitely going to break my hand on somebody's face, 100%, and then when I hit their face, I'm going to break their face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to follow up with 10 to 20 unnecessary punches, you know what I mean? That just shows immaturity. That just shows not even, like, lack of compassion. It just shows that you're like a mental child, you know what I mean? That you don't know, like, it just shows how much you don't know about fighting, you know what I mean? Like, there's no need to do that to somebody, unless, listen, this person hurts your family member, this person does something to really deserve it, you know what I mean? Like, anyone touches your kids, of course, man, then you're gonna kill them, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't like these street fights, man, when people are hurting each other. I just wish people would stop hurting each other. There's no need. They're fighting for what? For free. They're not getting paid to fight, and they're hurting each other for what? You know what I mean? To prove a point, you know, to be on World Star. I mean, come on, man. Like, I wish everybody got along more, you know, because I think so many people have something to prove, you know. I have absolutely nothing to prove, you know. So that's why I try to avoid confrontation at all costs. Now, is it different? Like if you're a professional fighter and you're running your mouth to me, if you're experienced and you're running your mouth to me, well, now you're not just a civilian. You know what I mean? Like, then there could be some issues, you know. So it really depends, man. But I hate the street fight videos that are out.
No, I absolutely agree.
And exposing our kids, our teenagers to too much. It's just becoming normal to them, you know. And it's just this violence is not even cringeworthy to these people anymore. To me, it literally turns my stomach, man. You know.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I totally agree. And it also, you know, I mean, you got some kid, he's like, oh, I want to get my 15 minutes of fame. I'm going to go out and fight with some other kid and, you know, risk my life or whatever. So, yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. And, you know, like I've told you before, I always commended you on the way that you dealt with that guy at the Walmart video. You know, a lot of people would have used that as a chance to show off. A lot of people would have used that as a chance to beat the crap out of that guy and then become a YouTube star. But you didn't, and I really admire you for that.
You know, that's funny, man. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll talk about this now. Last week I was at a gas station. And this younger guy that wasn't an old guy, I see him, he gets out of his car and he starts, like, the gas station attendant had to be, you know, 65 years old, skin and bones, man. This guy was not, he was an old man, and this guy was, like, I guess he messed up his gas or something, so he got out and he started doing the gas. He's, like, cursing at him and talking disrespectfully, and, man, like, this got me mad, you know. So I got out of the car very aggressively. I didn't get out of the car in such a nice way that I did with the Walmart guy. And I told this guy, man, I said, listen, so you want to disrespect this old guy? I said, how about you disrespect me? You know, like, there's nothing between you and me but air, you know. So why don't you disrespect me, you know? And things didn't, you know, it didn't get physical, you know. But at that moment, I was very, very inclined to be physical. Right, because I felt that guy was a bully. I felt he was a mean person. I felt he was a younger guy that was bullying an old man, and that really upset me. You know what I mean? So, like, that was more. It wasn't going to be a fair fight, but that was more of a situation to where I wouldn't try to talk him down. You know what I mean? It's like he already made the mistake of disrespecting somebody that was not even on his level. You know what I mean? Like, he was trying to bully someone. So in that case, like, I'd rather him try to bully me, you know, and see how that goes for him. You know, would I have stepped on his head? No. Would I have, like, held him on the ground and made him feel like a fool? 100%. He might have caught a good few slaps, you know. Maybe a nosebleed for sure. You know, nothing too serious, but, you know, I don't like bullies, man. That shit pisses me off.
No, absolutely. I think it pisses a lot of people off, and, you know, it's just great the way the jiu-jitsu community has taken such a active step in fighting bullying by holding all these anti-bullying programs and stuff. So, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that needs to be handled. You know, people say, oh, you know, everybody's too soft nowadays. Well, not everybody's built to be a fighter. Not that everybody's soft. And if everybody's soft, so okay. So why is it that the bullies, if they get slapped across their mouth, what's the problem then? You know what I mean? If they want to bully, they should be able to get bullied back. You know, like I don't, you know, like, that guy physically aggressed me. If you want to bully me, I don't care. Whatever. Try to bully me all you want. You're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to, you know, like in Walmart, he was coming after me. You know, he walked away at the moment I told him to walk away from the other guy. And then he challenged his aggression towards me. You challenge your aggression towards me, you have 9 lives. Like, I'll let you talk, you know. I'll let you get away with a lot unless you come within my space. Unless you really, really, really push me, you're gonna be able to get away with a lot. But if I see you attacking somebody else lesser than, you're not gonna get away with too much. You know what I mean? That's just not the way. It's not the way I work, man. It's not the way I've ever worked. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think. If I see somebody you know, that is, like we saw the one YouTube video that I loved. The one kid was punching a blind kid, and out of nowhere, this dude came and leveled him.
I saw that.
He punched the life out of this kid, you know.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see that, you know. That made me happy, you know. What I don't like is, like, you know, the punching of the blind kid made me sick. But then as soon as the other kid hit the guy that was punching the blind kid, I think I ate an ice cream or something. I got so happy.
Mm-hmm. I do know the video you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one last question. Actually, I know the last one I told you was going to be the last one, but I this kind of brought up another one. You got a kid at your school. He trains at your jiu-jitsu school, and you find out he's a school bully. How would you usually address that situation? Would you kick him out immediately, or would you try to talk some sense into him, or how would you deal with a situation like that?
How old's the kid?
Oh, let's say 12.
All right. So what I would most likely do is have one of my 14-year-olds train with him, and probably for an hour straight. Mm-hmm. And just not let the kid quit at all, no matter what, no matter tears, crying, just wouldn't matter. I would tell his parents first that this was going to happen. If they agreed to it, I would let, but no punches, nothing to, not hurt the kid, mm-hmm. but just physically dominate him and take everything that he has physically. They say fatigue makes cowards of men. Mm-hmm. And just totally dominate his will. And then afterwards, I would explain to him, how he felt right there is he's making someone feel like this every day, but even worse, I would allow them to, I would let him know that I'm utterly disgusted with his behavior mm-hmm. or her behavior. Mm-hmm. And it makes me sick that I wouldn't even want to look at their face, but they can make me by changing who they are and being kind mm-hmm. and not bullying anyone. And then I could love them again, but I literally can't stand bullies, man. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a tough household. I've been through a lot of shit in my life, and I never took it out on someone else. No matter what I went through, and I went through a lot, man. No matter what I went through, I never went to school and took it out on some innocent soul. So I don't agree with that shit. People say, oh, this kid's abused. So what? That doesn't make it okay for this kid to go and bully somebody else. I've had my fair share of problems growing up, and I never took it out on someone else. So I don't want to hear that shit. There's nothing that justifies a bully. If he was older, like 18, mm-hmm. man, then he's going to train with me. And then he's going to train with me for a long time, and then he's going to see what it feels like to really feel a grown man. Mm-hmm. You want to be a bully, because when you're a bully, for me, that's grown up shit. When I was 16 years old, I was fighting grown men. I was 16 years old, I was throwing down guys 25, 26 years old. Oh, wow. So at that time, for me, once you're 16, man, for me, I was fighting men. At 14, I started knowing that I could fight with men. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying, man, you're going to have a big problem. But, at my school, that's not going to happen, because the culture in my school is so anti-bully, mm-hmm. and it's so much about kindness and helping people and, being the kind kid. I can't imagine a kid in my school bullying somebody. I literally can't fathom it, because we teach kindness is such an instilled quality in my children, to where, I allow them to understand how bad it can make someone feel. I wasn't bullied as a kid. I never took no shit, but there's times I went to school just feeling so horrible from other things going on in my life. The last thing that I needed to deal with was another little prick making me feel bad about myself. And for me, it's just not something that I tolerate. Or what I would do is I would make them watch a video of another kid committing suicide, and make them watch another human being die. I'd make them watch another human being take their life. I'd make them watch somebody putting a razor blade across their wrist and cutting their skin. And You want to be a bully? Are you willing to be the reason why somebody does this to themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Could you watch another human being die? Because that's what you're trying to do when you're bullying people. It's real shit out there, man. The world's fucking real. And people don't want to, everybody wants to be tough. Everybody wants to be a bully, but no one wants to watch another man die. No one wants to, it's too much for them, right? Well, why is it too much for you? Why is it too much? If you want to be a bully, you should be able to watch this. Should be no problem. So I'm very much a realist. Let's see what happens what's the consequence of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is I would make them feel what it feels like to be bullied, and then I would make them see what the consequence of them bullying somebody is. Because kids are taking their lives every week. Kids are killing themselves every week because of bullies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and it is a serious problem, and you're absolutely right to address it. Okay, one last question. I know I said this about 3 times already. You're running for school board. How's that going so far?
Man, I don't have much time to do anything with that right now just because ADCC is coming. I'm making DVDs. I'm making instructionals. I'm doing seminars, and come October, I'll do a little bit more with that, and I let them know, man, like some other things came up since I announced I was going to run for it, things I can't dodge because I have a family and I have bills to pay, and there's been a lot of opportunities presented to me that are keeping me very, very busy, so, I mean, my name is in the mix right now, but I haven't had time really to do much for, my Olympics are in 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be gone for 9 days, and it's really hard to do much for that at this time right now. But, I was a school teacher before, and, I'm a parent of kids, or of a daughter that is in school. So, I want the best for teachers. I want the best for kids. I want the best for parents. That's it. I don't get involved in the drama. I don't get involved in the political bullshit. I don't get involved in the fakeness. I don't do none of that. So I don't know how much people will love me in there, because I'm not bowing down to nobody. I'm not kissing any ass. I don't do that, man. I don't care about anybody but the kids, the parents, and the teachers. I don't give a shit about what anyone else thinks. So if that's something that appeals to people, then they should vote for me. If it's not something that appeals to them, don't vote for me, and I don't care.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. No, and I think that attitude will definitely appeal to a lot of people. People like that toughness. People like that stand-up attitude. No, I agree with you. And
not fake, man. That's it. I can't be fake.
No, that's what people want. They don't want fakeness. Well, at least I hope they don't. I don't want fakeness. I suppose I can't speak for everybody else. And while we're on it, I do want to thank you very much for that Half-Guard Domination DVD you sent me. I've been watching it. I used it, and I used it against a purple belt, and I'm a stripeless blue belt right now, and I managed to keep some guy of my guard with a purple belt in my guard, so I got to thank you for that.
That makes me happy, man. I do think it's a game changer. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you liking it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for this interview. I don't want to keep you any longer.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. My family lives on the East Coast. We actually, they live up in Boston, but hopefully one day I'll be able to take a trip down to New Jersey and do a little training at your gym.
Man, you're always welcome. Anytime you want to come through, you have a spot in my academy, man. And that goes for anybody listening to this. You guys want to come through, man, stop by, train. You're going to be welcomed with open arms, So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for choosing me to interview, and I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. All right. You have a good night tonight, Tom.
Thanks, Chris. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.